Hello everyone, my name is Evelt and today I'll be doing the can crushing experiment. There are two parts to this experiment. The first part, which we'll be doing now, is the change in sizes from the initial cans with no difference made to the whole of the cans. In the second part, we will be doing a change in holes, so we'll be either decreasing or increasing the holes to make a difference. For this, we'll be using aluminum cans, tongs, a quarter cup of water that we'll be putting inside of the cans, and then a bucket of cold water. So first step will be to put water inside of the hole. After filling the can up with water, you're gonna use your tongs and then put it on the stove. For this, we'll be using the stove on high amount of fire. We will be putting it on the fire until steam comes out of the can. After the water is boiling, you put the can, you stop the fire, use your tongs, and then gently carry it over to the cold water. And then you will flick the can into the cold water, and the can would result in something like this. So we'll be doing that experiment 4 more times, and then I will show you guys the result after doing each one. This will be my second can. And now on to the third can. And here is our third can. There we go. And now on to the fourth can. Alright, here's our fourth can. Now on to the last and final fifth can for the first part of this experiment. This is our fifth and final can that's beginning to boil. Here we go. There we go, our final can for our first experiment. For the second part of this experiment, we would be doing the cans, but this time with extra shapes and bigger shapes slowly, and then up to the last one, which is just pretty much the whole thing the top has been cut out, and see how many differences we can make from that. For this first one, let's take the one with the largest hole and then slowly go back down to sizes and see if there's any differences. We would still be using a quarter cup of water, so that would still be the same. It would just be the size of the holes. Let's start with the largest can, with the largest hole, and start heating it up. we would be going up until this can is boiled and ready to go, and we will see the results then. See you then. The can is starting to boil now, so I would stop the stove. I have to be most careful with this one because it has such a big hole. In this one, as you can see, it barely even made it in. Let's get on to the rest of the 4 cans. This is the can with the second largest hole, and we would be doing the same experiment as the rest. Okay, the can is starting to boil now, so let's turn off the heater. And very carefully. Okay, Anyways, as we can see, there has been what happened. Okay, let's go on to the next can. So this is the third biggest hole. Let's hit up the can. Now we're getting the hand with the third biggest hole, and we'll be going down then. See you in a bit. Okay, the water in the can is starting to boil, so let's go and turn off the heater. And do the same thing as I did the others with. Back into the water. Now, on to the next can. For the fourth can, we would be using this. Alright, and the fourth can and the second experiment is boiling, so let's turn off the fire and go do the same. And that is the fourth can. Alright, let's go to the last can of this experiment. And I am now heating up the can and let's see what happens. Okay, the last can of the second experiment is boiling, so let's turn off the fire and then get it back into the cold water. And that concludes the experiment type of the problem. On the matter of conclusion, in the first experiment, as you can see, almost all the cans have been fully went down, and pretty much the top part gets slanted into the one side. Some cases more extreme than others, but in the most way, it tilts towards one side, then has that. In the second experiment, for the one with the biggest hole, we almost have no change in the can except the tiniest amount of currents. In the second biggest hole, we have a little bit of wind, but most of the can is still in shape. It goes much farther in the third hole, and by the time it reaches to the last hole, it's almost the same shape as size as the ones in the first experiment. With this, we can conclude that the changing of the holes does affect the shape of the cans, and that the smaller the hole, the smaller the can gets. That has been the end of the experiment so far. Thank you. And this is made by Evel Tsukbutter, and thank you for my physics teacher for the semester. Thank you. Bye bye.